Let's talk about PSG and Bayern Munich, though, because that was one of the games that we were watching, and this was what we saw. Obviously, Luis Diaz had the Germans off to such a good start in this game, Troy.
Yeah, again, this is the perfect one. This epitomises him as a player, always on the front foot, always trying to put pressure on the defenders, and when he gets that opportunity, real quality, and it's a wonderful finish. Unfortunately, his game obviously ended just before the end of the first half with that terrible tackle on Hakimi, but all in all, a great day for him and a wonderful buy for Bayern Munich. A lot of Liverpool fans will be questioning why they let him go.
Just about that red card as well. Obviously, now he's going to miss the game against Arsenal, which is another pivotal matchup for them. No arguments with it being a red, though, right?
Now, honestly, I don't think it's... I know you're going to think I'm crazy in saying this, because when you slow motion it and you see this, it looks like a scissor tackle. I think he's really working hard to try to win the ball and try to poke it through the legs. Ends up being... The tackle's getting worse as he's in the air, because he goes in the air to try to poke it through his legs. I think it's an honest... Yeah. He's trying to be honest about it and really work hard for the team to get it back. But then as the bodies are shifting and as the momentum, when he's in the air, the challenge just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And then it ends up with him looking like a scissor tackle on the back of Hakimi's leg, and it looks like almost like a leg breaker. So 100% red card. But I think it's just a really poor decision and not a malicious one.
You don't think it was malicious?
No, I don't think so.
What about you, Troy?
That's a fair assessment. I think also he doesn't take into account just how quick Hakimi is, because Hakimi's breaking away from him. That's what makes it look worse, because he comes down the back of the Achilles. But it's a poor tackle, not one of any malice and not intentional to hurt the player. But unfortunately, probably his emotions are really high. Just scored 2, wants to show that he can do the other side of the football as well. But unfortunately, it was a bad tackle.
I mean, how well did Bayern do then in the second half, Grella, to be down to 10 men, to have that 2-goal advantage, because they had to put up with a lot, didn't they, from PSG, especially in the last 10 minutes of that match? Yeah,
we're saying at halftime that the game was going to be sit and defend and see if you can hang on for dear life against what everyone's been saying, PSG, the best team, young talents all over the field. They have guys that can hurt you in different ways as well, right? They have Kvaratskhelia, that's a magician on one side. Dembele went off injured, but I got another guy who can hurt you, but be more direct, right? Doué, some really good players. And Bayern, week in and week out, they don't get the opportunity to play against teams that are better than them. They're the best team. They're the bullies, and they're perfect through the season.
But can you say that about PSG too?
No. So they got a chance now away from home against one of the best teams in the world, with a 2-goal lead, to say, hey, listen, you're going to be down a man. Let's test you out. Let's see if those those security doors hold tight, and they did. And so I think they're going to grow a lot from this particular game.
100%. For me, this is about suffering as a team, and we've all been there as players. You have this moment where you dig in, and they didn't crumble. It would be very easy for them to lose 3-4 goals in that game and go, oh, we went down to 10 men. It's not our fault. But they stuck in. Harry Kane doing the hard work. Everybody who came onto that pitch, Kim came in, did an excellent job, and they will now, as a team, go into that dressing room, not only with confidence and feeling buoyed, but they'll also look at each other and go, I can trust you. You're not going to quit on me. And I think that will do them the world of good moving forward later on in this competition.
So who did you learn more about today then? Bayern Munich, would you say, Troy, and the character that Vincent Kompany has with this team?
100%. Bayern Munich for me. We saw the most out of them. The Arsenal win was a great win. We didn't learn anything different. We know what we're going to get, and obviously we'll get onto them a little bit later. But for right now, I think Bayern showed us the most, followed by Liverpool just after that in terms of the results and what they can achieve. But Bayern Munich, every time there's been a test, every time we think there's going to be a little wobble, they've just come through it with flying colours. Yeah,
every time you speak about Bayern Munich, the first thing someone says is, well, but it's the Bundesliga, right? And they always discount what Bayern Munich does, right? And over the last few years, I haven't been as successful enough maybe in Europe, but today they proved that, no, it's not just the Bundesliga, that they're good. They can defend, they can attack, they have different pieces in different areas, and they're really good performance today.
I think also we learned a lot about Vincent Kompany as well. Yeah. A lot of people giving him... kind of saying he's got the job. Yeah, got the job because of his past career, his Pep connections. Burnley obviously did a good job, got them promoted, struggled in the Premier League, but goes to Bayern Munich, and in 2 seasons now, we're seeing a fully developed Vincent Kompany team, one that fights, that's fit and organised, but scores a lot of goals as well. Would
you say that today's match and today's win against PSG has changed how you view Bayern Munich in this year's competition? Because we've talked a lot about Arsenal, even Real Madrid, Barcelona, and PSG PSG especially, would you now say Bayern Munich is one of the favourites for this competition?
I think for all of us, at the start of the show, we said, they would be in our top three. That's the only people we didn't disagree with, was PSG, Bayern Munich and Arsenal. The rest after that is ever evolving. Week to week, we can change it. I think we all said those three, and then just how you would order them. I would make the argument that Bayern, after today, should be top. But I also think we can make a very good argument that Arsenal should be top. They've won the top of both leagues. I would argue it's more competitive in the Premier League than it is in the Bundesliga. So for Arsenal to be top, 8 clean sheets in a row, you could make the argument for both teams, but Bayern Munich are right up there.
When PSG won the treble, though, on the flip side, they won the treble, went obviously to the final of the Club World Cup, the final of the Champions League. They destroyed Inter.
Yeah.
And for a little while, the dialogue was that this team is the level above the rest, right? There's like this group of like Liverpool, Man City, Real Madrid, like the big boys. Yeah. Bayern Munich, and then there's PSG that's just above the rest. I think beginning of the season, maybe because Troy brings the point up of too many games and they didn't really have a preseason. I agree with that. It could be that, but it's clear now that there is no. We're splitting hairs when we're saying who the top 5 teams are, right? PSG is not above the other teams. I think that's what today showed me, that Bayern Munich was able to come to town and win the game. I don't want to say comfortably, but win the game in France is not easy to do.
But if it was 11v11, if you base it just off the first half, it would have been comfortable. Bayern Munich potentially go on and win 4-5-0 because PSG have to get more adventurous, have to try and come forward, and they hit them on the counter-attack. So I think we learned a lot about this Bayern Munich team. I do think the 12 injuries, though, for PSG plays a huge part.
And Dembele now being one of them again as well.
The Ballon d'Or winner as well.
Yeah, 25 minutes in, which we'll talk about more. I suppose now the real measuring stick feels like it's next week with Arsenal and Bayern Munich, or the next Champions League match day, which we'll see those two pitted against each other. But will we see the very best of them? Because they're now almost in a position where you can say they're looking pretty comfortable at this point to go through. They want to be in the top 8, but they're pretty much a shoo-in, aren't they, you would imagine, to the next round? Yeah,
but now you're talking about ego, right? And both teams will want to, if you're Bayern Munich, you'd want to crush Arsenal and let everybody know PSG wasn't a fluke and we're the real deal. We're gonna be the team that scores against Arsenal, that has X amount of shots, because Arsenal have only faced 1 shot on target in the last 5 games or something silly like that. And now, if you're Arsenal, you want to be going, we're in this momentum, we're playing well. They've got Sunderland this weekend in the Premier League. No disrespect to Sunderland, you'll think that should be an easy win. And then they go into a real tough set of fixtures. So they'll want to go, no, we're the real deal. For years, you've laughed at us. For years, you've said they're runners up. Certain people have said they had no cojones many years ago. So now
do they now?
Of course they do now. Of course they do. That's total credit to Mikel Arteta. He's completely changed the culture of that place. And he's dragged it out of everybody, made big calls along the way. But they want to now put out a real marker to everybody and say, we're here. We're the real deal. Come and catch us if you can. So I think it's going to be a really, really fascinating game.
I'm not sure there's much of a benefit, though, if you finish first or you finish 8th, right? You still get the bye week, and then it's pretty random as who do you get. And the Champions League is obviously PSG just barely got in. Man City just barely got in last season. So I think it was Liverpool who drew a big team early on, and they were finished first. So
they ended up getting PSG.
Yeah, but they ended up being the champions, right? Yeah. So if I'm a manager and that game's coming up, I'm thinking, how do I do the bare minimum to get into the top 8 and manage my team, right? Because PSG today, because of, like we say, ego and big moments in these games, they played Dembele. Dembele was probably not ready. Boom, has to come off early. We're thinking soft muscle tissue injury. So how do you get into the top 8 as efficiently as possible? If I was a manager, that's what I would be thinking around. But then also there is the conversation of ego. Like, I think a lot of teams learn about themselves. Bayern Munich learned about themselves today. They grew. Even the top players in the world go like this with confidence, up and down. They need to continually reassure themselves that they are the best players in the world, that they are the best group in the world. So that's where these games are big, where you can learn about yourself as a group. I think, like, Bayern Munich took a lot out of tonight. I think Liverpool, who was on a pretty bad skid, took a lot out of tonight. Because you could argue, well, tonight's not that important given the format. But I think on a psychological level, these games are important.
Here's a look at Bayern Munich's top 3, because it feels like we've spent so much of this early season talking about how good PSG's attack is. But Bayern Munich's attack with Harry Kane has been next level. I mean, 16 games he's played and he's scored 22 goals. And then you've got Michael Olise in there as well, and Luis Diaz. Is there an argument to be made that Luis Diaz is the biggest, most successful signing of the transfer window, Troy?
It is, but when you look at 16 games, there's 40 goals between the front 3. That's frightening. They're on to score well over 100 goals if they continue at this pace. I think for Luis Diaz, again, at Liverpool, he offered them a directness. I think the one thing with him that gets underplayed is just how much work he does off the ball. He sets the press, he sets the tempo. He saw that with the second goal tonight against PSG. But he's the one who sets a standard. And when you look at Liverpool now, they don't quite have that balance. You've got Gakpo coming in off the right side. You know every time he's coming on his right foot. And I think it's a very, very smart business decision for Bayern Munich to go and get him.
I think they like to play with each other, and they complement each other in the way that they play football, right? And if you look at Real Madrid as an example, I think it's much more individualistic. Like it's Mbappe gets it, and then he gives it to Vinny. It's like almost like watching them two play together is a little bit grinding gears. There's a couple moments where they're almost running into the same spaces and doing the same things tonight. Where Bayern Munich, I think they understand, okay, Harry's going to try to pin guys, and he's going to come back into the midfield and link play. And then when he does that, we're going to do this, and we're going to run off the ball. And then Luis Diaz, okay, we joke around aside from the red card because he's trying to really work hard for the team, but he gives you that element. Then Olise gives you a totally different element when he has the football. So I think there's a cohesiveness in the group. And the teams that done that, like last season, PSG had that cohesiveness, right? They had Kvaratskhelia on one side, Dembele on the other side, on this. Each guy liking to play with each other, bringing different characteristics to the team. Balance in the midfield with Vitinha, some guys with some bite in there as well. So the team that has the most balance has the best chance to win this competition, and especially the best defense. So Bayern Munich is in the conversation, and that's why Arsenal, for me, also is in the conversation.
Thanks for watching this video from our Champions Club coverage. For more analysis and for all the games, including EFL, Serie A, as well as the full suite of UEFA club competitions like the Women's Champions League, sign up for Paramount+.